urging from Hollis Hall. A phone call just changed the rhythm of this week. It wasn't loud. It wasn't public. But it flipped the board on a rumor most of us had pushed to the side and told ourselves to ignore. If you care about January football, about building the kind of roster that travels in the cold and finishes drives in the red zone, stay with me, because what I'm about to lay out could be one of those moments you look back on and say, that's when the season pivoted. Here's my promise to you before we dive. I'm going to explain exactly what kind of move is being weighed, why it fits the philosophy this staff has repeated since OTAs, how it would change the offense on first down and 3rd and 3, what it does to the leadership hierarchy inside the room, and where the money and picks line up so it's not just a Madden idea that falls apart on page 2. No spoilers right now. You'll get the full picture, not just the headline. Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, drop a like so this breakdown reaches every diehard before the chatter gets messy. Around here we do the work. Film, context, and plain English. All right, let's get into it. Intro. If you've been paying attention, you've seen the identity forming in Chicago. It's not a mystery anymore. A quarterback-friendly structure that opens the middle of the field. A run game that makes linebackers hesitate. And a perimeter room built to win leverage, not just contests. The coaching point that keeps echoing. Efficiency first, explosives as the byproduct. That means the run game can't be decorative. It has to dictate. That also means your wideouts don't just collect targets. They move the chains and stretch grass horizontally so the seams open. Now turn your eyes to New York. The Jets are in that uncomfortable place where the math of the standings meets the reality of their window. They need to shake the tree. When a team like that comes to the phone, they're not asking, how's the weather? They're probing value, real value, looking for a mood that resets narratives and unlocks a stuck unit. And historically, when fronts talk across conferences, it's to avoid the playoff rematch tax and to spread risk. That alignment matters. Let's talk mechanics first, so nobody gets lost. Any big move at this point has to check 4 boxes: on-field fit, cap fit, locker room fit, and timeline fit. On-field. Does it translate to better down-to-down football, not just highlights? Cap, can you carry it now and next March? Locker room, does it boost leadership instead of creating a diva tax? Timeline, does it help soon enough to matter this year without sabotaging the next 2? If you can't say yes to 3 out of 4, preferably all 4, don't even pick up the pen. From the Bears' angle, the football logic is simple. Support the young quarterback with a reliable run answer on early downs and a bigger margin for error in the red zone while keeping the structure at wide receiver clean. That means backs who see it fast and hit it, and receivers who either win right now off the line or block like tight ends when the call is to pound. From the Jets' angle, it's about shaking the tree on offense and giving their quarterback a trusted, high-level target who knows how to be available on the scramble drill and who forces defensive coordinators to commit safety help they'd rather place elsewhere. Money and timing, because that's the part most rumors ignore. Mid-season trades are a dance across cash flow, bonus proration, and short-term cap room. You can massage things with offsets and pick swaps, but you can't fake the bottom line. The only way a headline becomes a handshake is if both sides can squint at a spreadsheet and say, we can live with that today and tomorrow. That's why most internet deals die in the 3rd paragraph. Okay, deep breath. Here's what's new, and I'm putting this in plain English because you deserve that. The update is that the Bears and Jets talk has been reopened at an exploratory level around a multiplayer framework. No formal offer on the table, no signatures, no green light. But there's fresh smoke. Intermediaries recheck values. Both sides review draft pick contours. And at least one construction being sketched would send a veteran Jets wideout and their dynamic running back our way. With a proven Bears receiver and a day 2 pick headed to New York. That is the core of what's being discussed. Nothing more, nothing less. Let me translate the football behind that sketch. For Chicago, the appeal is obvious. A true 3-down hammer who turns 2nd and 8 into 3rd and 3. who punishes light boxes and makes play action feel like a cheat code, paired with a big body perimeter target who blocks corners into the Gatorade and gives you honest slants, gigs, and force on crack replays. For New York, the attraction is reuniting their quarterback with a target who plays on time, wins the snap, and changes how defenses rotate safeties. That's leverage for both. Now, reality check, valuation. The league doesn't price running backs like it did 10 years ago, even great ones. And Chicago does not give away star receivers for vibes. So the numbers only match if there's sugar in the deal, namely picks that balance risk profiles and perhaps conditions tied to snap counts or production. If you've seen the mock ideas floating around that involve a second rounder, park that for a second and think like a GM. This is more likely to live in the range of pick plus protection or pick downshift, depending on who eats what cash and how many years you're truly committing to on both contracts. Let's spend a drive on the field fit if the framework ever turns real. The Bears' run game becomes meaner overnight. Inside zone isn't a punt call. It's a body blow. Outside zone becomes a test of discipline for safeties because cutbacks hurt now. In the red area, you can call duo and trust that 2 yards and a cloud of dust becomes 7 and a first and goal more often than not. That bleeds the clock, protects a young quarterback's pitch count, and keeps your defense fresh into the fourth quarter at Soldier Field when the wind is writing its own script at receiver. The hypothetical veteran coming in is not a speed merchant. He's the guy who does the ugly work and makes 3rd and 5 feel like math instead of magic. He'll stalk block, he'll crack the force defender, he'll run the glance route when the backside safety is flat-footed. That lets your young star on the other side eat without having to carry every dirty job. And it forces defensive coordinators to declare who they want to double before the snap. But there are costs, and you deserve the full ledger. You're potentially moving on from the chemistry your quarterback already has with a proven number one. That matters on choice routes, on timing throws, on scramble patterns where eyes and instincts finish the play. You're also taking on the injury variance that all feature backs carry, no matter how talented. And if the incoming wideout is on a heavier number than you like, you need to be comfortable with what that means for your spring flexibility. This is not monopoly money. It's the margin between adding another pass rusher in March or talking yourself into a budget flyer. Inside the room, leadership would have to resettle fast. A high-volume back changes the personality of an offense. So, does removing a WR1, your young quarterback would have to embrace a slightly different rhythm more under center, more play action, fewer pure dropbacks on early downs. That's not a bad thing. It's just different. And different in midseason requires full buy-in from the center to the receiver's coach. The good news is this staff has preached adaptability since camp. The question is whether you want to stress test that now or wait for the off-season. Timeline? The window to do something meaningful isn't infinite. Every week the cap math shifts, players get banged up, and leverage moves. If there's a lane, it's because both sides see utility before Thanksgiving, not after New Year's. That's why there's urgency tonight. Talk is cheap in April. In late September and October, talk has to meet the trainer's table and the call sheet. Here's what's fact versus what's not, so we're all on the same page. Fact: the conversation lane between Chicago and New York has reopened at a low exploratory level. Fact: frameworks that revolve around a Bears receiver of consequence and the Jets, premier back plus a veteran wideout, have been resketched in the last 24 hours to see if money and picks could align. Not fact: that a deal is agreed, imminent, or inevitable. This remains a rumor with fresh legs, real legs, but still a rumor. So what should the front office weigh in the final calculus? 3 things. First, does this make your quarterback's life easier on Monday through Saturday, not just on the highlight package? Second, does it raise your floor in December road games where style points don't exist? Third, does it protect your draft board so you're not paying today with interest tomorrow? If the answer is yes across those lines, then the emotion of moving a fan favorite has to be taken out of the room and replace with the cold math of wins. I want you in this conversation, Bears fans. Would you ship out a WR1 for an elite RB if it also brought back a sturdy WR2 type and the picks balance, right? Would you only do it if the pick upgrade is meaningful? Or is the stylistic shift to a power run, play action identity enough for you to sign off? Drop your take below. What you write there will guide how we cover this in the next video. Because this community has smart football eyes and I read every single comment.